Zoomers, eh? Good old Zoomers. The most idiotic, moronic, brain dead, brainwashed, oxygen stealing generation of the entire history of humanity. Not only are they an embarrassment to human history, but in particular, the point of this live stream, Zoomers are a massive embarrassment to the Resident Evil community. I, obviously, am not a Zoomer. I am a millennium. And no, I am not a boomer. Get your facts right before you say, okay, boomer, to me. Get your facts right. I am a millennium. I was born in the year 1988. That makes me, by definition, a millennium. Can't even say it, but rest assured, I am it. So I played Resident Evil 1, the original PS1 version, when it released on PS1, when I was just a little kid. I would have been in and around 10. So that's where it all began for me, as a Resident Evil fan. But now, in the year 2023, I was almost going to say 2022 there, the years are flying. We've got this generation of Zoomers, as I pointed out, the most idiotic, moronic, brain-dead, brainwashed, oxygen-stealing generation of the entire human history. Jumping on the bandwagon of Resident Evil now. For some, it might have been Resident Evil 4, it might have been Resident Evil 5, hell, it might have even been the Paul Anderson movies, which I have no problem with. I think they're great movies. I actually enjoyed watching those movies. Huge fan of those movies. But yeah, you've got these Zoomers now, and they're interacting with Resident Evil, and the kind of shit that comes out of their cock-sucking mouths. Oh, you couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up. I mean, we're talking about like Lady Dimitrescu simps, you know, who when Resident Evil Village got announced were like, Lady D, sit on me, step on me, mommy. I mean, how cringy and embarrassing does it get? How idiotic and moronic and brain dead does it get? Now, I know there was plenty of boomers and millenniums who were saying it as well, but the majority were Zoomers. Let's be honest, the majority were Zoomers. But it's not just Lady Dimitrescu simps that I'm talking about here. It's Zoomers within the Resident Evil community that do not acknowledge the existence of Resident Evil 1 Remake on the Nintendo GameCube and various other services over the years, because they got a remaster over the years across multiple platforms. And who were like, I I think Capcom should remake Resident Evil 1. I think you should stop watching fucking TikTok videos, go onto YouTube and type in Resident Evil Remake, and you will see that it already got a remake. It's so annoying. It really, really is annoying. Like, that's what I feel like going to a Zoomer right now. Well, particularly like the Resident Evil Zoomers, anyway, at least. Diego, I think, remaking Resident Evil in the Resident Evil 2 remake. Resident Evil already got a remake. Diego. On the Nintendo GameCube. I don't know what you were doing in the year of 2002. Okay, I don't know if you were alive in the year of 2002. But in the year of 2002, Capcom remade Resident Evil on the Nintendo GameCube. And it was a massive remake. I mean, visually, oh my god. It was a massive step up in the PlayStation 1. It had new locations, new puzzles, and even new story arcs. It exists. Resident Evil 1 does not need a remake just because of a bunch of moronic, idiotic, brain-dead, brainwashed Zoomers who like to simp over a fictional female video game character. Okay? It's not the Resident Evil community's fault that Zoomers weren't alive or weren't old enough to remember the Resident Evil 1 remake. Right? Resident Evil 2 and 3, they all needed a remake. That's fair enough, because they were PS1 games. But Resident Evil 1 remake already exists. By the way, you are very welcome to the live stream. Apologies. Welcome to Green Hill Gaming. How are you doing? As you can see, I am having a discussion about Zoomers. Connection to the host lost. Well, I came third. Call me. Okay. I think remaking Resident Evil and the Resident Evil 2 remake way would be nice though. And I think that winning €1 million would be nice as well, but you know, the GameCube remake would still exist for the people who enjoy that style more. That style. That style. What, you mean the style that made the Resident Evil series what it was? But that style. That style that you... How old are you, if you don't mind me asking? That style. The style that Zoomers can't appreciate. Ooh, tank controls. That style, is it? Ooh, standard definition, even though it got remastered across modern consoles and it's in high definition now. What style are you referring to? Because the original Resident Evil trilogy is what made the series so big. So what style are you referring to? The GameCube remake is the remake. Okay? Resident Evil Remake exists. Again, I don't know what Zoomers were doing when it released. Don't even know if they were born. Okay? Maybe they were sucking on their mommy's tits. Or maybe they were a sperm cell. Maybe they were their daddy's sperm cell swimming around in their mother's vagina. I don't know what they were doing. But I know what I was doing. I was playing the remake of Resident Evil, which, as I pointed out, is a massive, massive step up from the PS1 version. Okay, visually it's absolutely stunning. It has new locations, new puzzles, and a new story arc. I mean, introducing such iconic creatures like Lisa Trevor. Come on. So, people do still enjoy the Resident Evil remake. Millenniums like myself, people who grew up with the Resident Evil series. It's not our problem. It's not the old school original Resident Evil fan base's fault that Zoomers can't appreciate that style of gameplay. No need for apologies, I accept your opinion as a Zoomer myself. So, you are a Zoomer! I feel sorry for you. You have my sympathies. You have my sympathies, Diego, for being a part of the most moronic, idiotic, brain-dead, brainwashed, oxygen-stealing generation of the entire history of humanity. So, I do apologise that you have to be a part of that generation. You have my utmost sympathy. And I personally find your generation embarrassing, if I'm going to be honest. Particularly when it comes to the Resident Evil community. I mean, from simping over Lady D, a female fictional video game character, to choosing not to acknowledge the existence of the Resident Evil remake and referring it to as a remaster, when it very clearly is a remake. It's embarrassing and it's annoying. That style is perfect, but it would be nice to get a modern version. See, that's the thing, Zoomer. Sorry. But that is the thing. Diego, that is the thing. It already got a modern version. It might be modern for your Zoomer mind and your Zoomer generation, but it did get a modern version. Because, history lesson, Resident Evil 1 released in 1996 or 7 on the PS1. It then, a few years later, in the year 2002, got remade for Nintendo GameCube. A far more superior console, the most powerful console of that generation. Superior graphics, as I mentioned, new locations, new puzzles and new story arcs. So it already got a modern version. That's exactly what I'm saying. The modern version of Resident Evil exists. It's called Resident Evil Remake on GameCube. There was no need for a remake of any game. Period. And hello, Wacky Wacko. Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year as well, Diego. Wacky Wacko, great to have you back on the live stream. Long time no see. Indeed, how have you been doing? I'm having a go at the Zoomer generation. The most idiotic, moronic, brain dead, I love saying this, brainwashed, oxygen stealing generation of the entire history of humanity. I'm having a go. But in particular, Zoomers among the Resident Evil community. They're an embarrassment to the Resident Evil community. From simping over Lady D, a fictional female character, sit on me, Lady D, to not acknowledging the existence of the Resident Evil remake on Nintendo GameCube. Again, it's not our fault. It's not Millennium's and Boomer's fault. The long-term OG Resident Evil fan base. It's not our fault that the Zoomers weren't alive or sucking on their mother's tits when that remake came out. It's not our fault that you can't appreciate what you call old gameplay. If Resident Evil is not for you, then politely go and play some Roblox for yourself. But leave us big boys play Resident Evil and leave us alone. How about that for suggestions, Zoomers? Remake of Resident Evil exists. It does not need a remake. A remake is quite simply embarrassing. And I'm telling you, I know I made a video months back that I was done with the Resident Evil series. I swear to Christ, if the younger team in Capcom, if the younger team in the Resident Evil development team decide to go ahead with a remake of Resident Evil, then I am 100% done with the series. If they were ever to do anything with Resident Evil 1 again, okay, not a remake, but if they were ever going to explore it again, I would say this: I would love to step into the mansion, the Spencer Mansion, in full virtual reality with PSVR 2. I would love that. I would absolutely love that, but not like a remake. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. Doing good. Glad you're doing well, Wacky Wacko. I find it weird people want the remake of Resident Evil 1 because the GameCube version exists. That one I heard is really... Thank you, Wacky Wacko. Exactly. Exactly. I'm going to pin your message. Can I do that? Yes. Your message is now pinned, Wacky Wacko, because you and me, we're on the same wavelength. Thank you, Wacky Wacko. I also hate my generation. I think a lot of people in your generation hate your generation. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Like I do have like Zoomer friends. I have friends of all ages, of all generations. And they would look me right in the eye and they would admit that they hate their own generation. It's crazy when you think of it. To be honest, I hate every generation. I hate everyone and everything. My heart is as dark as the abyss of hell itself. Sorry. A little TikTok consumers. My favourite game of the series is the remake of the first one. I'm just saying the modern version of it would be nice. I appreciate... I am doing what your generation does not do with the Resident Evil remake. And I am acknowledging, and I'm respecting, and I'm existing. I am acknowledging the existence of your opinion. I get you. Exploring the Spencer Mansion in PS5 quality graphics, 4K HDR, 120 Hz, 8K would be absolutely something out of this world. I admit. But ultimately, what I'm saying is it's not needed. Because a remake of Resident Evil already exists, like myself and Wacko have been saying. But nonetheless, there you go. I completely respect where you're coming from. I myself would like to see Resident Evil 1 in VR. But I'm not here saying that it needs to get a I suppose just to kind of, and I'll read your comments in a second, Wacky. I'm referring to this. There's a Resident Evil YouTuber who I would love to smack left, right, and centre from here to Timbuktu. Okay, I actually forget the name of his channel. I don't want to get it wrong. I don't want to name a Resident Evil YouTuber if it wasn't them. I don't know what they were called again, but they put up like a poll of what games they would like to see get remade. They referred, sweet Jesus Christ and above, help me Jesus Christ here now, but they referred to Resident Evil 1 remake as a remaster. And it pissed me off so much. Like, there are people within the Resident Evil community right now, particularly Zoomers, who acknowledge, if they do choose to acknowledge the existence of Resident Evil 1 remake, they refer to it as a remaster. And it pisses me off. It's not a remaster. It's not a remaster. it already got remaked. I mean, all you need to do is go onto YouTube and look at side-by-side comparisons of Resident Evil 1, the original version on PS1, to Resident Evil Remake on GameCube, and you will see with your own eyes, your own zoomer eyes, if you can take them away from TikTok for just a moment, you will see that there was a massive, massive, massive jump in quality, in visual quality, gameplay quality. You know, it's absolutely out of this world, okay? Even to this day. Like, you can't even see Chris's face in the original Resident Evil 1 and PS1. Come on. You know, and then you're talking about new locations, right? New creatures, like Lady, I was going to say Lady Democrats, Lisa Trevor, new puzzles and new story arcs. Come on, it's a remake and it exists. Again, it's not the fault of us long-term Resident Evil fans who made the series into what it is, who gave you the opportunity to jump on the fucking bandwagon that we created. Okay? It's not our problem that you can't acknowledge and appreciate that style of gameplay. My bad, I heard it's a really good remake. Damn it, YouTube. Damn it, YouTube, indeed. I heard it is a really, really, it's the, in my opinion, I think in the opinion of a lot of other gamers, it is the best remake ever made. I mean, again, it's just this, the difference in visual quality is just outstanding. It's absolutely outstanding. I've never seen a remake as good as Resident Evil 1 Remake. I'm going to be real, I also despise my generation as well, because holy shit, this generation is bad. What generation are you, Wacky Wacker? Are you a Zoomer, Millennium, or Boomer? I'm a Millennium, and I'm glad that I'm a Millennium, because it's so cringy when someone says, okay, Boomers. I just want to headbutt them. I boom their head. And again, like, I'm not having a go at the entire Zoomer generation. I know a lot of really, well, I don't know a lot, but I do know of a few very, and I mean very intelligent, tuned in, respectful, right, kind, caring people within the Zoomer generation who actually acknowledge the history of gaming, who play old games, who appreciate and respect old games, and who know a lot about old games. I know Zoomers who know what's going on around the world around them, who don't spend their entire fucking days on fucking TikTok, who know what's going on within government and politics and wars and what's really going on in the world. So I'm not standing here saying that the entire Zoomer generation is moronic and idiotic and brain dead and brainwashed and oxygen stealing. Okay? But I'm saying as a whole, unfortunately, it is. I swear to God, if we get a remake of Resident Evil 1, a remake of Resident Evil 1 over a Code Veronica remake, I'm done with the series. I will officially hang up my Stars boots, my Star badge, and honest to God, I will be done with the series. But I will play Resident Evil Village VR before I do, though. Been wanting to make this live stream for a while. I was going to make a video, but then I was like, no, I'll go all out and do a live stream. Code Veronica Remake is the one I want next. Me and you both, Diego. Me and you both. Let's go! Boom! Let's go, Diego. We need a Code Veronica remake so much. I mean, it's the original origin story of the Umbrella Corporation, because Code Veronica released before Resident Evil 0. So Code Veronica is when we first heard about the Ashford family, which was one of the founding families of the Umbrella Corporation, like one of the families who founded the Umbrella Corporation. So you're finding out about Alexia Ashford and the T Veronica virus, and it's just so, like, the story is so in depth. It's not about, like, you know, evil corporation making viruses. It's more about, well, it's that too, but it's so, like, more. because you're learning more about the Umbrella themselves and the families behind Umbrella, you know, why they were set up, why they're like the way they are. Do you like my gun? Very colourful. What a kill. Oh, imagine they brought Alice. Imagine they brought Alice from the movies into this game. Ah, they need to make that happen. Oh, please make that happen. I beg of you. Please make that happen, Capcom. Please, please, please. Bring Alice. Bring Alice to Reverse. Oh my god. Please. Who's chasing me? Ada, you bitch. This is actually a really fun game. I feel like if Capcom want to deliver a full-on Resident Evil online experience, though, I do think they should actually bring back the Outbreak series. How do the Zoomers feel about the Outbreak series, I wonder? Okay. Ah, yep. Code Veronica is actually one of my favourite Resident Evil games. Got it on PS2. I got Code Veronica X on PS2. One of the first PS2 games, actually. I actually have the original on Dreamcast. I streamed it actually a couple of months back. It was really fun to play the original version. Only Chris Redfield was survived. Oh no, he didn't. Time's up. 2 Adas and a Chris. Sounds like a porn video. I'm a Zoomer who actually acknowledges the history of gaming, past. However, funny thing I'm. However, the funny thing is, I don't like TikTok. I hate TikTok. Good. 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 You are a good Zoomer. And it's also good that you acknowledge the history of gaming, gaming's past. As I mentioned, like, I do know, like, of Zoomers who also acknowledge the history of gaming. So it's not all Zoomers. It's not the entire Zoomer generation that I'm having a go at and that I'm calling an embarrassment to the Resident Evil community. But I just think Zoomers in general, overall, within the Resident Evil community, are just a massive embarrassment to the Resident Evil community. To be quite honest with you, I don't refer to myself as a member of the Resident Evil community. I'm not really a community kind of a person. I'm just me. I march to the beat of my own drum. I don't need a community. You know, I don't need a community to be a fan of Resident Evil, is what I'm trying to say. I certainly don't need, you know, little kids, you know, simping over Lady D, you know, to be a Resident Evil fan. Yeah. But yeah, just overall, they're just a massive embarrassment. But it's so annoying. They annoy me so much because on the one hand, they call themselves fans of Resident Evil. On the other hand, they're discrediting, ignoring, and not acknowledging or respecting the history of the series. So, like, it's like, on the one hand, I really want a remake of Resident Evil 1. And on the other hand, they're like, I don't like Resident Evil 1 remake. As if they have the right. These little fucking Zoomers who were sucking on their mother's titties when they was taking down the Tyrant in the Resident Evil remake, and probably were little sperm cells swimming around their mother's pussy when they was killing a killer shark that was swimming around in the basement of the mansion. As if they have the right to, like, speak on behalf of the community and speak on behalf of Capcom and say, like, Capcom, I think this is what you should do. God almighty, if I was the head of Capcom. Sweet mother of God. Do you know the Platinum Games director? The guy behind Bayonetta, basically, Bayonetta 3. You know, he was actually, I think he was a producer of the original Resident Evil 2 that was now known as Resident Evil 1.5. Oh my God, if he was the head of Capcom. Oh, sweet mother of God, if he was the head of Capcom. It would be so funny. He would be blocking them, he would be calling them out, he would be just absolutely insulting them publicly. It would be absolutely so entertaining and hilarious if he was the head of Capcom. You know, because he would tell them what they can do. He would say, you know what you can do? You can fuck off. You know, that's what we need. I swear to God, I'm going to get a job of Capcom. I'm going to move to Tokyo, Japan. I'm telling you. Become the head of Capcom, yeah. Swear to God, though, they're an absolute embarrassment, like. I'm playing a lot of Umber Eyes. What's it? Umber Eyes. Let's call them Umber Eyes. Seen the video on YouTube actually talking about the potential future of the Resident Evil series. It's actually quite entertaining. It's quite, like, I don't know if I'd use the word promising, but they were talking about, like, how it could revolve around Chris Redfield and his pursuit against, like, the BSAA that are, like, using bioweapons now. And a potential return of or Jill Valentine as well. Jill Valentine has to come back. Do people not realise the last time we saw Jill Valentine in a mainline Resident Evil game? When I say mainline, I have to say I'm not including Revelations. Revelations is like something she got up to along the way. You know what I mean? And I'm also, quite controversially, I'm not including 5. Not because I don't like that game, but because I just feel like she didn't do anything. She was fair dead for most of the game. And when you do come across her, she's a slave to Wesker. When you free her, she just has a couple of cutscenes and she fucks off. And the next time you see her, she's on a plane. And she doesn't even fire the missile that kills Wesker. So she just did nothing in that game. And she wasn't playable in that game either. She was playable in the DLC, right? Like, but nonetheless, the last time we saw Jill Valentine in the mainline Resident Evil game, and this may shock people when they actually hear this, it was 3. Resident Evil 3 was the last time she was playable in the mainline Resident Evil game. That is shocking when you consider there was the time that Leon had Spotlight and Chris as well. Like, you dead? Oh fuck! It's Jack Baker. Jack, you can suck my tits. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jack. I'm sorry, Mr. Baker. Hold still. Oh shit. Coming to get you now. Coming to get you, Barbara. Oh, you took my kill. Took my kill, Claire. That was my kill. And she took it. There's not many people in this lobby. Oh god. Coming to get you, Barbara. What a biatch. Icarus. You can suck my dickorus. Oh, so good. I'm good, but I'm not that good. Guess the reference. Oh, you bitch. Cunt. So I would say I'm third, like, but there's not really much people in the lobby, like, so I'm not really going to be happy that I'm coming third, like. Go away from me, will you? Oh, she got me again. She's dead now, definitely. She's dead. She's dead. She's dead. Where is she? She's dead. She's dead. She's mine. She's mine. She's mine. Leave her alone. Oh, for God's sake. Oh my God. It's Nemmy. It's Nemmy. Nemmy's back. So this really is a fun game. I like playing it. I'm still debating whether to put money into it or not, like, to be honest, but it's really fun, like. Nemmy! I'm coming to get you, Barbara. Two Nemmies. Ah, stop now. Nemmy! Nemmy! But Ada, looking all mysterious. I say Ada is actually one of my favourite characters in the series because of how mysterious she actually is. To this day, people still don't exactly know what Ada 1 is all about, what she's up to, you know, who she's working for. Although I do have a theory that the organisation that she works for, the organisation that was like first referenced in... When was it first referenced? It was actually first... I could be wrong, but I think it was first referenced in Resident Evil 4. Ada 1 like referred to it as the organisation that Wesker bought into as well. I'm fully convinced that is actually the connections. I'm fully convinced of it. I really, really am convinced of that. So if that ever happens, if that ever gets confirmed, you heard it here first. I've said it numerous times on this channel actually. I've made videos about it now. That the connections could actually be the organisation that, you know, gets referred to in the series. Yeah. It could actually get referred to in it could get confirmed in Resident Evil 9. We just don't know. But Zoomers. The embarrassment of the humankind. In fact, I'm looking at one right now who thinks that a slitter can't break a window, but I can tell you one thing, a fist can break fucking teeth! But, oh god, I'm having a great year, aren't I? Just to show some of the creatures. Fat moulded. Like it. It's a new creature, by the way. It was only recently added into the game. Hunter Y. That's from Resident Evil 3 Remake. Of course, Jack Baker himself. Tells you how many... What? You need one virus capsule to turn into Jack Baker. What? Hardly. I always thought you needed like 2 at least. And for Nemesis you need 2. I think they've changed this. I think they have changed this. I think you need like... I'm pretty sure you needed at least 3 capsules to turn the Super Tyrant. That's strange. 1 virus capsule needed for Jack Baker, and then 2 for Nemesis and 2 for Super Tyrant. Nemesis is still one of the most scariest enemies in the entire series. These are some of his skills. See, this is the battle pass. I don't know. I don't know if I will actually spend money on this game or not. Because you can get stuff like victory poses, weapon skins, character skins, weapon charms. You can get wallpapers as well. And it goes all the way to Jesus, 90. I don't know how long the season is, or there even is seasons. There's nothing here. Premium pass details. So premium pass benefits: unlock one additional challenge slot, gain 150% BPP when completing challenges, gain access to reward unlocks on the premium track of the battle pass. So it's just like your usual battle pass. I don't know if I'm ready to invest yet. Like this will take me to the shop now though. It's basically $9.99, but I don't know like if it's the entire. I read this very carefully now. The premium pass grants the following benefits. I don't know if the stream is paused here or not, like, but if it is, I won't be too long. Unlock rewards on the premium track. Online multiplayer paid. See, that's the thing. I don't know if there will be in like a new season, because like the thing is, what kind of the issue with battle passes and paying for battle passes is a lot of the games, like there'll be a season. So I could pay €10 for this, and then like tomorrow there'll be a brand new battle pass and everything in it will be gone. So that's something I have to kind of think about too, like, you know. Yeah, I haven't decided yet whether to get the battle pass. There's some of my wallpapers. I don't really have a whole lot of them yet, but there's HDR in this game as well, for people wondering, because I know there's no PS5 version as of yet, but if you were are playing on a PS4 Pro and PS5, you can at least have HDR, which is something. So I'm going to have one more game, and then I'm going to have one more little rant about Zoomers, and then I'm going to end the live stream. Coco Nut, Happy New Year to you. Popping to say Happy New Year. Just going in the car, but hope the year was good to you. Thank you. Much appreciated. Much appreciated, man. Thank you. And Happy New Year to you. Hope 2023 brings you peace, love, and joy. And gaming, of course. And gaming. I think it'll be a great year for gaming. I'd say E3 is going to be back with a vengeance this year, man. I am making wild predictions. Something I wouldn't normally do, but I think Jeff Keighley is going to be working in McDonald's by the end of the year. I swear to God, like, I think they're going to announce Mortal Kombat 12, or whatever they call it. If they even make Mortal Kombat. I think the biggest one of all is I think Nintendo is going to announce their next console. I'm not asking for much, am I? It's not that I'm asking, it's that I really do feel like that's going to happen. I don't know. What do you make, Coconut, if you're still watching, of Zoomers who are calling for a remake of Resident Evil 1? I'm coming to get you, Barbara. Well then. Ah, actually got him. Gotcha, Chris. Okay, well, let's punch boulders, but you ain't punching me, bitch. Top of the board. At least I wasn't, anyway. Fuck off. Jesus Christ. That's what I feel like doing to the Zoomer Resident Evil community. The Zoomers in general, to be honest. Fucking bullshit. Oh, just dropped the floor face. Just give me 2 seconds there before I strangle some Zoomer cunt. Can you come over to try, please? Can you come over to try, please? look at my ass nicely. Just slapped his Zoomer skull off the wall. Splatter his blood. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year. Right. So I'm going to have one more rant against Zoomers. So yeah, Zoomers, the most idiotic, moronic, brain-dead, brainwashed, oxygen-stealing generation of the entire history of humanity. The Zoomer Resident Evil community, oh my god, they really are an embarrassment, a massive embarrassment to the Resident Evil community. In particular, people like myself, millenniums, who grew up playing the Resident Evil series, who made the series into what it is by going out and buying the games, giving Capcom the money, making the series so big, creating this big massive bandwagon that these motherfucking Zoomers can jump on board of and call themselves Resident Evil fans. And we made that bandwagon for them. And because they're Zoomers, and because they're either sucking on their mother's tits or swimming around as a sperm cell in their mother's pussy, they can't acknowledge the existence of the Resident Evil 1 remake. And if they do choose to acknowledge its existence, they come out with like, oh, it's an old game. Yeah, to you fucking Zoomer. You know? Oh, I don't like the style of its gameplay. It's called Resident Evil. How can you be a fan of Resident Evil and talk down its gameplay? Ridiculous. So it ain't our fault that you want live, or you just want young enough to appreciate Resident Evil remake. You know? Yet they are calling for a remake of Resident Evil. They're also doing it in the Metal Gear community. They're also calling for a remake of Metal Gear Solid. And just like the remake of Resident Evil, there's also a remake of Metal Gear Solid on Nintendo GameCube. What's called Resident Evil Twin Snakes. Maybe it's the title that confuses them. Maybe they hear Twin Snakes and they think it's some kind of spin-off or some kind of, like sequel, but it's actually a remake of Metal Gear Solid. And again, these are like, Metal Gear bandwagon fans. They jumped on the bandwagon when people like me made the series so popular. They jump on the bandwagon, they call themselves fans of Metal Gear, but they can't acknowledge or appreciate the existence of the original Metal Gear Solid. But in particular when it comes to Resident Evil, it's just so annoying, it's so embarrassing. And they're also the same motherfuckers who like simp over a fictional, female video game character. But, come on. Come on. Am I really surprised? It's nothing compared to half the fucking shit they watch anyway. Fucking anime porn. Come on. That doesn't surprise me too much, to be honest. But bringing it into Resident Evil, bringing it into the gaming community, it's just so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Imagine being a kid. Imagine being like a kid, right? Like under the age of 17, right? And you look at this female fictional video game character, Lady Dimitrescu, right? And your initial reaction is, oh, she's so sexy, step on me. And there probably is kids that are masturbating to her. Okay? Imagine that person then, right? Right? And they're like walking down the road. And like, or some woman or some man says, hi, how are you? How's your day going? Oh my god, get away from me, pedo. It's just, couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up, could you? That's why they're an embarrassment. That's why they're embarrassment. You don't have an opinion. You don't get to have an opinion about somebody. You don't get to call someone creepy or pedo, right? When you're simping over Lady Demetrius. You just don't. You can take your opinion, you can shine it up real nice, and you can shove it up your candy zoomer ass. Then again, you probably like it, so don't. But yeah, they're an embarrassment. They're an embarrassment, really are. That's one thing. But the biggest thing, though, as I mentioned, is the fact that they're actually calling for a remake. The funny thing is, they're actually not even calling it a remake. Like in their little simple minds, their little simple zoomer minds. It's funny because they go around. They go around. Sorry, no, they go around, right? Telling millenniums like myself and boomers to get educated. Oh, the irony! Oh, God. Oh, sorry, no, but the irony of these simple-minded, moronic and idiotic, brain-dead and brainwashed Zoomers to tell people to get educated. I've got news flash for you, Zoomers. Yeah. Being able to subtract and multiply complicated like mathematical problems, right? Doesn't mean you're educated. Because there is such thing as an educated idiot. And that's a person who's got a degree in this, right? A bachelor in that, a master in that. Top grades, top marks, you know. They can tell you the most complicated mathematical solutions, but they've got a brain like a fucking pea when it comes to common sense and logic. But you can't teach common sense in school, Zoomers. So the irony of these Zoomers telling people to get educated is just so funny. It just makes me laugh. So I say get educated, Zoomers, on the existence of Resident Evil 1 Remake. It's on GameCube. And if you can't, listen to me. Sit down. Sit down, relax. Sit down, have a nice cup of tea. It's okay. Sit down. Sit down. It's fine. Sit down. It's okay. Listen. If you can't acknowledge classic Resident Evil, its gameplay style, its visuals, that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But you know what? Don't call yourself a Resident Evil fan. Get the fuck off the bandwagon, go home and play some Roblox, and leave the big boys play Resident Evil. Is that okay? Okay. So that's going to do it for the live stream. I've said my piece. I'm glad I did. And if I upset anyone along the way, great. See you next time.